warm welcome to all the participants to the. Sir, I think can you mute your video for some time?
I'll do that.
Audio. Sorry.
Audio.
Participants are requested to mute the audio. I think someone has unmuted. I request the participants once again to mute the audio and video if anyone has by mistake also unmuted. So warm welcome to all the participants to the fourth day of this STTP afternoon session. Welcome to our resource person. We are honored to have you amongst us today, Dr. Vishwa Kiran sir, Associate Professor, Department of AI and ML, BMIST in Bangalore, to this short-term training program, which is sponsored by All India Council of Technical Education on IoT powered solutions for healthcare innovations. Sir is with us to deliver the lecture on a hands-on session on how to get started with Raspberry. Let me share a few of Sir's achievements. Sir has completed his PhD from UBCE Bangalore University, and Sir has been a resource person for more than 25 workshops and for more than 30, and he has published in more than 35 research publications. Sir is a corporate trainer and he has been a trainer for Volvo, Cisco, Siemens and Hitachi Global Storage Technologies. He has also trained professionals from Wipro, HP, Samsung, Nokia, L&T, and Texas Instruments and Siemens and many other companies. Sir has received the Best Paper Award at the IEEE INDICON conference, and Sir has also developed the master's degree course content in consultation with Dr. Richard Matthew, the father of open source. Sir has received appreciation from the Director of Texas Instruments for conducting 4-day modular workshop embedded Android using BeagleBoard, first time in India. And he has successfully conducted a 6-day modular workshop in association with Texas Instruments and Ross Hulman Institute of Technology, USA. Sir, we are very happy to have you amongst us here, and over to you, sir. Sir, I think your video is on mute. Audio is on mute. Can you unmute?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
And I would also mention that Sir was too busy. I would like to thank Sir. He was on travel and has reached the destination now only. Maybe I have to give a double thanks to Sir for starting the session now, sir.
It's my pleasure, man. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's what I would like to hear from participants. Okay. So how much your people are familiar with the cross development environment? Okay. So let me list out the agenda. I don't want to start from scratch, and I should not cover the topics which have been already covered by other trainers. Okay. So let me keep the agenda open. Okay. Or let me tell you what are the topics I'm planning to cover, or what is the prerequisite that you should know. Okay, if you are not familiar, I will quickly brief you about what is this cross development environment. Are people familiar with this cross development environment? Okay, I hope at least all of your anyone has worked in this embedded system development.
Kindly share your doubts in the chat box or interact with the. You can unmute and speak.
So based on this, I can customize. Otherwise, I will.
So I think they are not aware, sir. As far as I had the experience for the previous 3 days, this okay. Might be their first session, sir.
Is it, sir? Well, okay then. Then formally, I'll quickly cover what is embed system, or let me show you okay, so our IoT, all of you know that, okay. So what forms an IoT? What and all you need? Quickly, one of you can tell me what forms an IoT solution? What and all you need What are the components you need? Who are the stakeholders in IoT solutions? A simple application, you can tell me. I'll come to that. Otherwise, okay. Ma'am, if someone puts a
Sir,
message.
have you presented anything? Or that is what one participant has. Have you shared the screen? One participant is asking.
I will not shared. Okay, let me see.
Only the video is visible, sir, now.
Okay, I'm sharing now.
Now perfect, sir. Yes.
Okay. So let me show the architecture of IoT, which would already familiar. So you need an object, IoT object, and a gateway, right? And there was going to be end users and the cloud. So when we say IoT solutions, if you are able to control any object, any device, it can be any device. You can replace this object by uh, any applications. Okay, say it would be like a simple temperature sensor where I would like to monitor the room temperature of a remote place. So if doctor wants to know like what is the room temperature or the temperature of a patient, you can just imagine okay, the device which monitors the patient, and here is a doctor who's monitoring this object. How this doctor can connect to this device? So obviously through cloud, there's going to be a gateway. Hope this architecture all of you are familiar, right? Probably many of the speakers would have talked about the architecture of IoT. At least you can tell me, man, so that I let me not waste my time
Sir,
here.
the architecture of IoT has been discussed, sir.
Okay then. So the agenda of today's session. Okay, so how do you set up this gateway device? What all you need? What is the role of this gateway device? What can be a gateway device? A simple gateway device. There is not a single solution. There's no single solution. There are multiple solutions. We will focus on this part. How object can be accessed through gateway. Okay. Let me start with a simple example. Okay, I hope all of you are able to see the video, right?
Sir, video is visible, sir.
Visible.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We can connect to this website called dataplace.com. Okay. Is it visible? Okay, let me put it in the chat box. So is this link accessible to all of you? Yeah, please connect. Okay, so you can give the username as probably it will support okay 5 users. Let me check. Okay. You'll get this. The username is gnu linux.course at email.com. The password 2020. So please okay, let me know if one of you are able to connect to this login credential. Try using this login credential. I should be able to get this screen. What is visible to you? Like, Let me put this username as well. You can just copy paste. This is a username. Is anyone able to connect? Ma'am, you can try, ma'am. Just madam, you can try. Is anyone successfully able to log in? Hello? Is anyone connected? Yes. So one of you can tell me like, okay, so you can unmute yourself and see, like, I'll tell you what needs to be done. I want you to try this couple of commands.
Sir, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I'm sharing this. This has been shared. Are people not able to see?
Uh, no, sir. We are not able to see the slide. Yes, now I think.
No, okay, just I'm sharing a browser. Is it not visible to you?
Yeah.
Now, did you
It is
people
visible.
try connecting to that portal dataplicity.com?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you see this screen in your
Yes,
browser?
now it is visible, sir.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Just you can type cd, just the command cd in your. Let me know who was connected. Let me know the name. Just it will take 2 to 5 minutes for the demonstration. After that, we can continue with the formal discussion. I want you to know like what I'll be doing it. Hello.
Anyone
Yes,
has
sir.
got the connection to the website? Any of the participants, please respond.
Madam, you can try connecting to that portal. Just I will.
Okay, okay.
Just you can open a browser or you can click on that link, the dataplicity.com. Shall I copy it once again? Or if I stop sharing, okay, one of you who was connected can share your screen. Ma'am, can you share your screen? I can stop. If they're able to see my video is enough. Just I wanted to show that, okay, participant can control my device from their system.
Sir, I will share my screen.
Okay, I'll stop.
One sec. So this is a website that you were talking about, is it so?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I are able to log in. So good, perfect. You can sign in using. You can sign in here. You can just click on that sign in.
So I can give any my
No, no, no.
Gmail address or.
No, ma'am. Okay, I've shared that username password right here. For 1 minute,
Oh, okay,
I've shared
okay.
the username. I've put it on the chat box.
Okay, okay, okay.
Use that. That's the username.
Yes, got it.
There's the password. So for participants, what I've done, I've connected my Raspberry Pi to cloud or internet. You can just imagine like that. I've connected my device to the cloud. Okay.
So I have entered, sir. And,
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Uh, Perfect, man. You're successfully able to
okay.
this. You click on that Raspberry Pi. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Perfect. So good. Just type CD, ma'am. CD. Just enter. Type CD and enter. It's good. Do LS, ma'am. LS.
LS, enter.
Enter
Can
key.
I?
Enter
Okay.
key.
Sorry.
Right. Perfect. Okay. So dot slash, you can just type, ma'am, you can see before that. Do you see that LED, the status of the LED? Is it turned on
Uh,
or turned off?
sir, where is it, sir?
It's in camera, ma'am. You can see my camera.
Oh, okay, okay. One second. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, it is off now.
yes, ma'am. Just LED on, just type LED on, off.
Now I have to type dot slash
LED,
LED.
I just type tab, ma'am. Press tab. Okay. LED O you type, ma'am. Yes.
LED on.
On, off, continuous.
Okay.
You can see something in the green
So
button.
did I type it correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Space.
Space.
Type one, ma'am.
One.
Yes.
Digit one.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So can I give the enter now?
Or you can type on. Sorry, on you can type.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. No, I
I,
don't
I,
see.
I heard it as one. Okay.
One you can type one, ma'am. Just let me see. One you type. I forgot it. Okay, let me check the code.
Okay, sir, sure.
You just try that. If it does not work,
So
I'll.
can I give enter now so that we can
Yes,
see
ma'am.
if it
Yes.
gets it?
Yes. Okay. You can see
Oh, so
that
it is getting on.
on.
Yes. Yes.
Just type the same LED on off. Instead of one, you now you can see that LED is glowing, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So I have to give dot slash or just I can type
Same.
that.
Instead of one, you replace it by zero, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
I think someone has
Zero.
no.
Okay.
I think someone has turned off. I don't know.
No, I have typed it and I have put it enter, sir.
Okay. Now you can see the status, ma'am.
Yeah, it is off. Yes.
Okay. So the moral of the story is like I see, I'm sitting in Bangalore, right? You are
Yes.
from, you people are in Chennai.
Yes.
So how you people are able to
So
connect?
we have remotely controlled the device.
Yes, that
Yes.
forms the IoT solutions. You see, in place of the LED, you can imagine any other devices, any device you want to control. You want to
Yes.
remotely lock the car, or you want to turn off your refrigerator or any of the secure devices. Or you want to lock your home, the door lock. The number of applications, as many of the speakers would have discussed, right? This is the practical. There's example which I've shown. one solution. Okay, so the thing is you need to connect to the device. You connect your any device which one needs to be controlled through internet or cloud. So it has to be connected to cloud, and once you have that login credentials, you'll be able to access the device. So
Yes, sir.
what you need to learn to work on this type of environment. First of all, you should be familiar with the cross development environment. Okay, it should take some time for people to get familiar.
Sir, so can I, do you want to share the screen? Can I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
You can share.
I hope the agenda is clear to all of you.
Yes, very clear for me. I think I hope participants are also clear with that.
Sure,
So
sure.
I'll stop the screen sharing, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is my screen visible to?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, sir.
So here is a device. Okay, the example in our example, this object we had used a LED and we used Raspberry Pi as a gateway, and the cloud, the Dataplicity website. The Dataplicity website acted as a cloud here. Okay, in our practical demonstration. Okay, which device acted as a gateway? Anyone? Can anyone give the answer? Which device acted as a gateway? Which the object is LED, the cloud is dataplicity.com. Through that portal we are able to connect. And which is the gateway? Which device acted as a gateway? In fact, I had shown the device. So this is the device which acted as a gateway, right? Can anyone answer? Say, I would like to hear from you people. Okay, I don't know at what stage you people are there. Okay, so how much you are familiar. Okay, so 5 minutes will interact. Hope this is visible. You can see my video. This device acted as a gateway, the Raspberry Pi, right? So Raspberry Pi can be called as Dash. What you people know about Raspberry Pi? What comes to your mind when you look at this device, right? So I'll give some time. Okay, so you can write your answers in the chat box. Okay. So the Raspberry Pi acted as a gateway in our example. Okay. And the objects could be any of the sensors. Okay, there are different types of sensors. Okay, probably you're already familiar. Okay, let me not go in detail of this. So it could be temperature sensor, chemical sensor, motion sensors. Okay, so the light sensors, the various types of sensors you would have come across. And the gateway devices, the Raspberry Pi which I have used, or it could be a simple Wi-Fi or Bluetooth device. So through that I can connect to some other device for internet connectivity. Okay, sir, Zigbee. There are various devices. Okay, so where uh, just LED through LED. If I want to control LED, it will not have capability to connect to internet. So I need to connect that LED or temperature sensor to any one of the gateway devices. Okay. So there are various cloud platforms through which you can connect it to internet. Okay, right? Or you can connect your device so that others can control any device from a remote place. Okay. So what you should one should familiar to get started with the IoT is the prerequisite is they should have worked in embedded system environment. So what is an embedded system or how it's different from a computer system? So computer system is a combination of hardware and software, right? The embedded system is also a combination of hardware and software. So how they are different from one another? Okay. So computer system, example of computer system. Okay, if I just list a few computer systems, it could be your laptop, workstations, the desktops. They all come under computer system, which is designed for generic purpose. When I say generic purpose, so as a manufacturer of a PC or a laptop, can I predict for which purpose the end user is going to use that system? See, if someone has bought a system, a new system, can you predict for which purpose they have bought that system? Definitely no, right? It varies from one user to another user. One might use it for development, another may use it for entertainment, one may use it as a database, one may use it for server. It varies from one user to another user. Hence, we call the computer system as a device which is designed for generic purpose. The other side, what we have is embedded system. You take a simple remote controller. If someone has bought a remote control for their TV, clearly you can say for which purpose they have bought that uh, remote, right? Or if someone has bought a micro oven or refrigerator, they know you can clearly say like for which purpose they have bought it. Okay, so embed system is designed for specific purpose. Hope this difference is clear to all of you. Let me know if you have any queries. You can feel free to ask any questions in the mid of the discussion. Okay, or you can put it in the chat box. You can unmute and talk to me. I really definitely appreciate that. What is an embedded system? Formally, you can say like it's optimally designed hardware. When I say optimally designed hardware, no scope or less scope for expansion. It will have a dedicated software or firmware. Okay, right? So where usually like you'll the end user will not have provision to change the software or a firmware. Okay, usually it is updated or modified by the manufacturer. A simple example would be your set-top box. Many a times you would have experienced the software is getting updated. A new software is available, or even you would have experienced in your mobile phone. The software will be updated by the manufacturer itself. Okay, so where end user is not going to add or remove software in the case of embedded systems, in particularly that example which I gave, that set-top box example. Okay, so a simple block diagram of any embedded system would be something like this, which will have a input devices. It can take input through some small keypad. It may or may not have a human interface. You would have connected. You might take some input through various sensors. So there's going to be a CPU. It might have a small amount of RAM, okay, memory, a small amount of memory in terms of RAM or ROM and various types of memory devices. Okay, where you load this firmware. Okay, and it might the embedded system might take input through sensors. It sends the data and it can compute and take some action. Okay, or it control other devices. A simple example for you to understand the all these small devices, a building block of an embedded system. It could be automatic door controller. So there's going to be a motion sensor. If someone enters the range, it will sense the obstacle and that device will open the door, right? There may not be a human interface over there. So automatically it takes the input. So this is a simple example of an embedded system. Okay. We have various domains in this. Okay, it may be automotive car, okay, the medical applications, the military applications, the livestock management, where you monitor the cattle from a remote place. Okay, so you can monitor their health conditions. One can in the dairy technology you can monitor the quality of the milk. All those things can be done. Okay, so it can be in aerospace or communication, satellite communication, industrial controllers, robotics, and the consumer electronics. Then the featured phone, okay, the various consumer electronics. So when it comes to the types of development environment, I was talking about the cross development, right? Here I will brief you about what is that uh, cross development. When it comes to the classification, we can classify the development environment with respect to embedded system. Okay, native development and cross development. What is this native development? Native development, okay, so it will have a PC where the developer is going to develop an application or a software in a PC or a desktop, in a workstation. One might use a workstation to develop an application, and he might execute that application in the same system. Okay, so the development environment and execution environment would be same in the case of native development. The thing is, the development environment as well as the execution environment remains same. Okay. When I say cross development, you have something known as host machine, which is used for developing applications, the software. Okay, and the other side you have something known as target device, a target machine. So you can see that the target device is totally different from the host device. It may be a small in the size, the target machine. It could be a final device, a simple fit band or the digital watch, or what you have, or it could be a camera connected to internet. So the target device can be any small device. The environment, the hardware environment, the hardware used in the target machine would be totally different from the host machine. See, if you want your software to run on a car or any other device, usually you use host machine to develop. So this is the development environment. Okay, so we use host machine to develop software, which is going to be transferred to this target machine. Okay, and here you control. Okay, so you run a software on a target machine to make the device to work as per your need. Okay, so what one should know to get into this embed development environment or to develop a software for embedded devices, one needs to be familiar with both the host environment as well as target environment. Okay, is that clear? And okay, so today we'll see the role of the target machine, because how you can use this Raspberry Pi as a target machine. In fact, a Raspberry Pi can be used as both host as well as target. Okay, so what comes to your mind when you see this Raspberry Pi? I'd like to hear from your side. When I showed you the device, what comes to your mind? It resembles what? Do you know the size of the Raspberry Pi? What is the size of this Raspberry Pi? I'm sure sharing the image of the Raspberry Pi, and just I'm showing the physical device. Is it visible?
Visible, sir?
Yeah. Yes. Do you know what is the size of this device, ma'am? Can anyone guess what is the size of this device?
The entire device, you mean?
Just you can see the hardware.
Or this one which you are holding? It will be 7 cross 7 centimeters cross.
Okay.
The entire one which you are holding it.
Okay. Let me try. So you can just see this. Are you able to see this device now, man?
Yes, sir.
No, device. Is it visible to you? The
Uh,
cover.
yes, the cover, you are holding it with that.
Yes.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Just I used my PAN card to cover that. It's the size of
Oh,
my PAN
okay.
card.
Okay.
That's the form factor.
Okay.
That's the form factor, the size of the device. Our credit card size. Okay, popularly you can call it as the debit card or credit card size.
Okay.
Device it is. Okay, so in fact do you know, like, okay, so this device can replace, okay, you can replace your desktop with this small device. So to
Okay,
form a
sir.
PC, what and all uh, you need see here, if you go back to this picture, you need a monitor, the keyboard, mouse, and this is the cabinet, right? So this cabinet can be replaced by this small device. Okay, the entire cabinet. So it can work as this Raspberry Pi can be used as or can be called as single board computer. Single board computer. So to form a computer, what and all you need? So you need a processor, you need a memory, you need I/O ports where you can connect I/O devices. So all put together forms a computer. So this, the one which I am holding, right? If I cover this, okay. Now this is the cabinet of your PC, and what and all you need to connect? So you need to connect the keyboard and mouse. There is a USB port where you can connect keyboard and mouse. And I hope this I'm taking closer. There's a HDMI port. Do you know like okay, what we can connect to that HDMI port? We can connect a monitor or a projector or a TV. So any of the device where I can see the output of the Raspberry Pi. Okay. So once I have a keyboard mouse connected to this Raspberry Pi along with that the monitor and keyboard. So my Raspberry Pi worked as what? I can use Raspberry Pi as a desktop. Okay. So which is a single board computer. So all the components what you need to form a computer is in a single board. Hence that's why we call this Raspberry Pi as a single board computer, which can be used as a target device. Okay. Is that point clear? Any questions? Someone has given that answer. Small computer. It's a good answer. It's a small computer. Okay, right? So it's a perfect answer. Okay. Let me go back to this. So you can see this the processor, and this is where we connected connected. In fact, you can see here I've connected the key USB dongle. The dongle is used to connect keyboard and mouse. Okay, so input device. Okay, so you can see a small dongle and the display here. Okay, so the output I have connected to that the projector. So I'll be able to show that projector output. Probably I need to connect another device. I'll turn on. This is that screen visible to you? The display, which is displayed on the monitor. You can see this
Yes.
projector.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the output of my Raspberry Pi. This is the output of the Raspberry Pi. I can remotely connect to that Raspberry Pi and I can show some examples. Hope I need to have both Raspberry Pi and my device in the same network. Now I'm in a different network. Okay, probably I may disconnect for a few seconds. I'll but connect it back. Okay, just I'm putting my laptop in the same network. Okay, laptop and display in the Raspberry Pi in the same network, so that I can show you the output of Raspberry Pi to all of you. I can that's. Am I connected back? One minute.
Sir, we can view, sir.
Can view that.
Yeah.
Fine. So that's so this is the IP address for my Raspberry Pi. If both Raspberry Pi and it's 132. 143. Okay, it's already there. So it's prompting me the user the dialog box, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the output of the Raspberry Pi. Okay. So which I am seeing through the projector, right? Yes. I can see the output of Raspberry Pi. Does it look uh, it's similar to your desktop, right? So you can use it for development. Okay, I can have a terminal. One can write a C program or C++, a Java. So most of the programming you can do it on the same Raspberry Pi. In fact, you can use this as a host machine itself to develop application. That's why we call it as a single board computer. Okay, so you can use browser and in fact some configuration I'll show. Raspberry Pi so once you have this device connected, so it's your system. The start button would be there. Go here, start button, the preferences. You can see. So Raspberry Pi configuration. You can see once you click on this, you can see this interfaces. It has been enabled. So if you connect camera, once you say enable, it's enabled. You can see the output of the camera. The SSH is the one where you can remotely connect to this system. Let me try showing you this. In your PC, if you have installed a software called Putty, all of you hope you're familiar with this Putty. I don't know whether it is there. Okay, let me. If it is not there, just quickly within 2 minutes I can download this. By using this application, I can connect to the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so from your laptop. So it's getting downloaded. You can see like it's hardly like a few MBs. So it has been installed. Since I've already connected here, so just I'm showing you what and all you can do with your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so Raspberry Pi, one of the usage. Okay, let me list the usage one by one. It can be used as a desktop. So whatever you used to do with desktop. Okay, so you can watch movies, you can run media players. Okay, you can develop applications. Okay, so it can be used for programming. Okay, so what are the types of programming it supports? So all those programming what you do on a Linux system can be done using this Raspberry Pi. Like you can write C or C++, okay, Java programs. Okay, so you can run that. Okay, Python, you can run that. Okay, so it supports various programming languages. All the compilers can be installed, and you can work on that. To just demonstrate on that. Okay, so let me show you this. Yeah, this is the Raspberry Pi device. Okay, so one example I'll show. Okay, you write example also like vi1.c. So this is used. Now I'm using Raspberry Pi as a desktop, right? Which is used for development environment. You see there, okay, there is no error, okay, and hello Chennai, okay. So just this is the Raspberry Pi device, okay. Okay, so you can have, I can greet you people. Okay. I do understand. Able to see this? Yes. I used Raspberry Pi as a development device, right? So it can be used as a server. You can configure Raspberry Pi as a server. When I say server, you can allow multiple clients to connect to this Raspberry Pi. Okay. So another example would be this the server. So you can see this putty or putty. This I need to know the user IP address of this Raspberry Pi. What is the IP address of the Raspberry Pi? If you run this command if config, you can see this. This is the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. So that should, this is like now, since it's going to act as a server, what I would do is I will give this IP address 190.168.43.132. Okay. So say like yes. So you can see this login. The username is default is pi, and I connected this. So you can see here, I'm able to connect to Raspberry Pi through a software called Putty. Now, okay, if someone is in the same network, okay, so if they use this IP address, they can connect. Now, Raspberry Pi is going to act as a server. The window which you are seeing is a client. Like this, you can connect a number of clients. So it's a client server environment. You can see here, okay, let me show the system configuration of my desktop. You know what the system configuration? You can see here, okay. I have a processor which is based on i7, and my RAM size is 32 GB. Okay, so this is the configuration of my PC, right? Let me. How do you check the configuration of the Raspberry Pi? Okay, does anyone know how do you check? It's a Linux machine. In a Linux machine, how do you see the configuration? So it's very simple. What you do, you need to run a command. Just a cat proc CPU info. So okay, so you can see this. Does anyone recognize the processor variant, which processor Raspberry Pi is running? Raspberry Pi is based on which processor? It is based on ARM processor, right? So this is the processor. See, this is I have connected to laptop. Sorry, Raspberry Pi. If I use the same PC in the same PC, if I run the same command on my PC, so you can see here. This is the comparison what you can have. Which command did I run? Cat proc CPU info. You can see here the command remained the same. I'll show one by one, side by side. See, this is my system terminal. Okay, this is the terminal which is running on my desktop. So this is the terminal which is connected to Raspberry Pi. What is the difference between them? You can see this vendor ID. Okay, the device, the processor name. It's an ARM processor. Okay, here it is Intel processor. Okay, and you can see another command cat proc mem info. If I run this command mem info, it shows me like, okay, so 1 GB of RAM. Okay, so here the memory. Okay, the total size of my RAM is 1 GB or okay, right, 100 megabytes. Okay, then if I run the same command here, cat slash proc mem info. Earlier I executed that as CPU info, which was giving me the information of CPU. Now it is giving the information of memory, and you can see it's like the memory, right? So, but I've allocated around 6 GB for by get this total memory. Since it's a virtual device, it is not occupying all this 32 GB like. Okay, this is how you can cross check the device configuration. Any questions till now? Do you people understand the capabilities of Raspberry Pi for what purpose we can use? So in fact, okay, there are various applications. Okay, just to name few of them. Okay, so now I've shown it as a server where it supports multiple clients. So client server applications you can develop. You can design your own server applications so that you can allow multiple clients to connect and utilize the facilities that are available in Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi can be used as a desktop and it can be used as a server. And in fact, you can convert, you can use Raspberry Pi as set-top box. If you have a TV which does not have connecting to internet, okay, right? So you have something known as smart TV. When do you say TV as smart TV? If you are able to connect it to internet and utilize the facilities that are available, you can connect to, so say Amazon store, so you can watch those videos, the Netflix. So right, as a Amazon Prime user, you'll be able to watch movies. If you want to do that, your TV must have a capability to connect it to internet. So if you have a TV which does not have capability to connect to the internet, you can convert existing TV as you can use Raspberry Pi to convert existing TV as smart TV. You can convert your existing TV as a smart TV by connecting your Raspberry Pi. So hardly like few thousands. Okay, so even you have a Raspberry Pi where you can buy for less than 1,500 rupees. There is something known as Raspberry Pi Zero. Okay, so are you people getting an idea like for what purpose you can use Raspberry Pi? Do you have any questions? Was this information already known to you people, or it's new to you people? Anyone already worked on this? And the one example which I had shown, okay, we used Raspberry Pi at the beginning. I demonstrated an application, right? So for which purpose I used? Can anyone name the purpose of using Raspberry Pi in my demonstration? I used Raspberry Pi for what purpose? Okay, so Mr. Sandeep is telling it's somewhat new. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so right. So for many people, it's a remote sensing. Perfect. Okay. In the okay, I'll give you a hint. I had shown you that architecture of IoT, right? In that IoT architecture, let me go back and show you once again. So where does Raspberry Pi gets fitted? So IoT objects, cloud, users, and the gateway. So Raspberry Pi can be used as what? Perfect. Okay, so Anita madam, she has given that answer, that gateway. So a perfect answer, no, it's the gateway like. Okay, so I used Raspberry Pi. So because how did I use this Raspberry Pi? What did I do over there? Okay, you can see. So Raspberry Pi is this here. You have general purpose pins, GPIO, general purpose input output. You can connect various devices. Okay, we can connect various devices like temperature sensor, okay, or the motion sensor. Okay, so all those sensors can be connected to this device, which can take input as well as it gives output. Okay, you can take output out of this Raspberry Pi, or you can this Raspberry Pi can take input. You can give information to this, or you can take information out of this device. So that's why you have something known as general purpose IO. So as a user of a device, you should understand which pin is used for what purpose. Okay, so I'll show you this the pins live. Okay, so let's see this. Here you can see this pins, right? So various pins. So you should know which pin is used for what purpose. Okay. If you don't know like okay which pin is used for what purpose, just you can search on internet or get out of the manual page. Okay. Or you search okay GPIO of Raspberry Pi. So you get plenty of information. It's getting loaded. So quickly, can anyone tell how many pins the Raspberry Pi is 3 or 4 is having before it gets loaded? Let me know if anyone is familiar. Do you know how many pins it is having? So someone is saying no longer has access to the chat. Okay, ma'am, can you look into this? Yeah. So good, very good answer. It's a 40 pin. It's a perfect answer. So thanks for being interactive. So it's having 40 pins. So each pin is used for a different purpose. It's general purpose. I will like you can connect so various devices. So you can provide some power supply to the device. So that LED may not have its own power, right? So you need a power supply. Okay, so you can connect to this various pins. It can draw some power. Okay, so this ground pin, and if you are taking the input, or you can taking out the output, so you can use various pins. One is to understand how you can connect this device to this GPIO. So you can get started sometime later. Okay, what you need to know, like how do you set up your device? Okay, what and all you need. So to get started with this, okay, what you need, you need the hardware. What you need is, so that's why I've given the title as to get started with Raspberry Pi. You need, okay, so you have this Raspberry Pi, right? Since I mentioned it as a desktop, what and all you need to form a desktop? What are the minimal components you need? What are the minimum components? You need a monitor. Okay, so you need IO devices like keyboard, mouse. Okay, right? So you need a hard disk. Okay, right? And you need RAM. Okay. So what? Okay, do you have a hard disk in the Raspberry Pi, or which device acts as a Raspberry? Which device acts as a hard disk? Okay. Do you people recognize this device? What is this? I'm showing on my camera. Is it visible? You know what device it is? Flash drive. Okay.
Somebody
So it's yes.
flashed.
Yeah, it's your memory card, what you use for your phone to store information, right? It's a storage device. The hard disk, which device acts as a hard disk in my Raspberry Pi is micro SD card. Okay. So use micro SD card, okay, where you can load operating system. Okay, this if you install OS onto Raspberry Pi, okay, so you need to install it on this SD card. Okay. So how to get started? Okay, what you need is you need SD card, micro SD card, and card reader. Because my laptop does not support. Uh, there is no slot for inserting this SD card, right? Like the slot what you have on your phone, that slot is not available on my PC or laptop. So what I do is I connect this Raspberry, sorry, SD card onto this. I've inserted I've inserted this SD card to the card reader, which is having is a USB port. Okay, sorry, and I've connected. Right. Now I can see this the flash drive. Okay, so 48 GB of information is there. Okay, but I've inserted a SD card of size say 16 GB. Okay, so this. So if you have this SD card, what you need to do is I need to install my operating system to this drive. Okay, sorry, this device. How can I do this? You need some third-party tool to write software. You just remember. Okay, so you need to go to this website called raspberrypi.org. So this is a place where you can get all the information that you need to get started with Raspberry Pi. You go here, this you can get to know the various types of Raspberry Pi. There are different Raspberry Pi variants. Okay, so you have something known as Raspberry Pi Pico, Raspberry Pi 4, Raspberry Pi Zero. Okay, Raspberry Pi 3. There are the different variants of Raspberry Pi. You can so these are the devices having a different configuration in terms of the processing capability as well as the memory available. Okay, the amount of memory available from one device to another device might vary. uh, okay, so yeah, like a 2 GB or 4 GB, like how you look for the spec in your mobile phone, right? Before you buy a mobile phone, you see like what is the speed of the microprocessor, or how much amount of memory is available, the RAM is available, how much amount of storage space is available. Okay, you can choose Raspberry Pi for your need based on the cost as well as the configuration. Okay. And once you identify the type of device, okay, so this is the software which you can link, where you can download the various softwares, okay, which you can install it onto your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so you can see here uh, the Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, setting up the wireless connections. And just still in this software, Raspberry Pi desktop. Okay, so you can see this, the different images that are available for you to install on the Raspberry Pi. You can download using this torrent, or directly you can download the software. Okay, or if you click on this another link, that okay, our software. Okay, so if I go here, so you can see Raspberry Pi desktop for PC and Mac Debian variants, and I also like Ubuntu is there. Okay, download for this. Okay, so different operating system are available for Raspberry Pi. See, what one should understand, it's the power of the software which will make your system to look different. It's as simple as your mobile phone. So you open a calculator on your mobile phone behaves like a calculator. Or if you open a camera application, your mobile phone acts as a camera, right? So same manner, you install Raspberry Pi with Raspberry Pi OS, it looks in one form. Okay, you replace with some other OS like Ubuntu, it looks different. Okay, it varies from one OS to another OS. So the look and feel of this Raspberry Pi OS is somewhat like this, which we already seen here. Okay, so this is the look and feel of this uh, Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, so it's as good as your desktop. Okay, where you can use it for programming, you can connect it to internet, you can play games. Okay, this is the Raspberry Pi OS, right? Okay, so you can play videos, can run some graphics applications. So various tools or various accessories are available. Okay, so one can start utilizing the facilities provided by Raspberry Pi based on your need. Okay, is that clear? Any questions? Once you download, okay, let me see. I've already downloaded an image for you. Okay, so there's one old image which is available. The software. Okay, so this. So this is a zip file what you get when you download the operating system. Once you extract the zip file, uh, so this is the image. So .img. So okay. So you need to write this image into this SD card. What you need to know, like okay, one needs to write. Okay, the step once you what are the steps in getting started? After having that micro card, my micro SD card and the card reader, what you need to do is write OS into SD card. Okay, how do you do this? You can use various the softwares like Win32 disk imager, or some other third party tool, like say there's something known as Baleno Etcher, which is available in your the Raspberry Pi portal itself. Okay, so so here you can see this the software here, Baleno Etcher. So this Balena HR. It's not Baleno, it's Balena. Okay. The Balena HR is the software which you can use. So these softwares can be used to write image what you download from internet, the Win32 image or the Balena HR. Okay, can be used to write the image which we would have downloaded from website, like this is a Raspberry Pi operating system image this software can be used to write into this SD card. Okay, how you can give life to this Raspberry Pi is by writing a software into that. Okay, right? So what you can do, you can just Win32 disk imager. Okay, you can see here the image file. The image file where it was stored. In my case, it was stored in D drive, MSIT, and then we had this workshops and training, 19 training resources, software. Just you can see that only that file is visible to us. Okay, this once you say open, this is the source of the image. Okay, and you can see this device. I have connected the external device SD card. It is mapped to F drive. So I have shown if I connect multiple SD cards, it will show the list of all those SD cards where you can write this image. Okay, once I initiate write. Okay, once I initiate write, it will start writing that image into this SD card. So you can see this. You can see the progress shortly. You can see the progress of the image writing. Okay. Once it is finished, you will get a message that writing is done. Okay. So now the image is being written into that SD card. Once it says get done, you can remove that. Uh, you can unplug the card reader. You can remove that SD card, insert onto this Raspberry Pi slot. Okay, so is it visible? Okay, so there is a slot for inserting the SD card. So one can insert a SD card here. Okay, once it says done. So that's all you need to know to get started. Okay, is this point clear? You can see the progress of image writing. So 1% is visible. Okay, so it would take some time. It's still showing few minutes to to write that software into the Raspberry Pi. Once you are done with the image writing, you take that SD card reader, SD card from SD card reader, and you can insert right below here. Okay. Somewhere you can the below this it's going to have a slot for inserting SD card and connect after the so your hard disk is ready in the form of SD card. Then you connect a keyboard, mouse, and you can connect the display. And there is a power supply port where it needs like around 5 volts power supply. You can use the mobile charger what you use to charge your mobile phone to give the power supply to this Raspberry Pi. Once you have a power supply and provided you are connected all these peripherals, your device gets booted through the operating system what you have installed. Okay, okay. Is that point clear to all of you? So it takes some time to get writing because the image is still showing 2%. So for each package it might show some minutes. It's not the time required to write the complete image. So based on the package, this time would get changed. Okay. Okay. So next point, okay, so I would like to tell you, okay, so what and all you need to get familiar with the embedded environment. The skill set required for you to become embedded system developer, you should understand the device capabilities. So various Wi-Fi devices available to connect it to internet or wireless connectivity. You better understand, if not like the complete architecture, how to use these devices you should know. Okay, so it could be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and you need to understand the environment of host machine, the target machine. The host machine can be your Linux system, or it could be your Windows, or it could be Mac. Okay, the target machine, based on the target device what you use, it could be a Raspberry Pi based on the ARM processor or some other architecture. Okay, So you need to be familiar with the programming languages like preferably like C or C++ to write or program those devices. So these are the programming languages preferred to program the embedded systems. Okay, even one can use Java to write applications. No doubt you can also use C or C++ to write applications. So one can use C, C++ to write both the application as well as the system software. And one can use that Python for network connectivity. It has a rich set of libraries where you can write applications quickly by using the packages available in Python. Okay, and one can use the frameworks like graphical user interface frameworks like Qt or GTK to write GUI applications for embedded devices. So, and one should have a fair understanding of role of operating system, what is the role of Linux or Windows, how it can use this OSS to run. Is your the life, if you want to give life to the Raspberry Pi, it is through operating system. So like why do you need operating system? And finally, like the various protocols which can use to connect for connectivity or for security purpose for applications. The one needs to have a fair understanding of different protocols that are available. Okay, so like SNMP, SMTP you would have come across, right? So TFTP or FTP. You have various protocols related to, so something known as MQTT protocol used in IoTs. Okay, so one needs to have fair understanding of those protocols being used and how to connect your device to cloud. How one can interact with the cloud. For cloud interaction, you should have fair knowledge. Why do you need operating system? Say operate is something like, okay, asking like why do you need a government in a society? We need government to manage resources, otherwise people would have fought for resources. With the existence of government itself, people are fighting. It's a secondary issue. Okay, the role of government is to manage the various resources that are available in our society, like land, water, and minerals, finance. Okay, a simple example is if there's a vacant land, I cannot go and construct my house on that vacant land. I need to seek the permission of government to construct a house, right? Similarly, if there's a water pipeline is passing on my plot, I can not simply tap that pipeline, right, to get water connection. I need to ask government. Okay, the similar manner, the various resources that are available in the computer system could be a CPU, memory, files, devices. To access these devices, okay, so we need to manage these devices, you need operating system. The role of operating system is to manage various resources that are available in a computer system. Okay, so Raspbian OS is one such operating system used to control or manage the resources that are available on my Raspberry Pi. It's going to manage the CPU or memory, the various files or devices. Okay. Okay, so the various devices are there. Okay, so you can to control these devices, this hardware, we need operating system. Okay, one is to have a fair understanding of operating system. Why you need operating system? Since okay, so we do not have time to discuss the role of each component. At least you should explore now. Okay, go back and see, okay, what and all you can do with operating system, or what is the role of operating system. Okay, okay. So I have there's one thing. Okay, so just I will click on this. Okay, so what does that image will have? Okay, so let me quickly I'll tell you this, since we're running short of time. I will explain few points. Okay, so you want to set up. Okay, so if you want to, so this is the role of any embedded system developer. You need to understand how to set up a host machine. What are the tools you need to develop software which is going to run on the target machine. Okay, so building cross compilation tool, like that. Okay, so for example, you may have a compiler which will compile your code on Intel machine, but what about target machine? The target machine may have a different microprocessor. So you need a cross compiler which is going to compile the software for different environment. Okay, so hence you need cross compilation tools. So you need a bootloader to load the operating system, or you need a kernel source where you need to download the kernel and build the kernel, or you can configure the kernel. Kernel means the core part of an operating system which will manage the resources. Okay, and you have the file system which will detect various devices what you connect, or which will manage the storage in your storage devices. Okay, and you have flash file system which will manage the flash memory devices, and one might use the third-party libraries maybe like C or C++ or Python library support, and finally you load application so that the end user can use the device capability through various applications. So as a embedded system developer, okay, so since I've shown the Raspberry Pi, and the Raspbian OS is based on the Linux, so that's why I've shown you this slide, which where you can get some idea like what and all you need to work. So there are specialized developers who are working only on, who's going to work only on bootloaders, only on configuring the kernel, one who builds a file system, or one develops library, one develops application. We cannot expect a single person to know all these things. So they may know at the higher level, but one would have expertise in each subdomain. Okay, so one may be expertise in building the bootloader, one may expertise in application development. So it varies from one developer to another developer. So this is just a roadmap for you to get started. Okay, on which uh, uh, level you want to work. Okay. A demonstration. In fact, I started with the demonstration. Okay, so I have too many things to discuss, but time may not permit to discuss all those points. I just kept it as simple as so that you can get to know okay, how you can get started, do that. The simple pointers what you should follow is you go to that website, get hold of the documents, the manual, how to get started. Now even school kids are started using this Raspberry Pi. You can also get started if you have not done this till now. Okay. Always reach me at this email ID, and I'm open for any questions. A few minutes for the questionnaire sessions.
Participants, if you have any queries, please post it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Sandeep, how can we connect with the clouds? See, it depends on the platforms. You need to figure out okay which cloud platform you want to like. So there is Amazon or Microsoft cloud facilities. So you and also which device you want to connect it. If you look at their manuals, you will get to know how you can connect the devices. It varies from one device to another device. The various cloud platforms, the cloud providers, the cloud resource availability.
Sir, do we have to use any API or directly we can connect with the system with the network and we can work with? As
Yeah,
I
it
can
varies
attach
at the
monitor with the HDMI port through Raspberry
which
Pi.
one? Can you please come again, sir? Yeah, who's this?
Sandeep.
Yeah, Mr. Sandeep. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I was asking that for let's say for connecting with the cloud, I think as we can connect with the through the HDMI port with the monitor and that NIC card that or directly the port what we call
Yeah, yeah.
and with the means we have
I got it.
connected the
Got it.
RJ45 connector and we have connected with the internet and we can
Okay.
use it like
See, for connecting internet, your
keyboard
Raspberry
and
Pi
other
device.
devices have internet.
Your Raspberry Pi, let me switch to the different network.
Because I
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, your Raspberry Pi needs to connect it to internet. You can that comes with the built-in Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Once you have Wi-Fi connectivity, it's connected to internet. So it depends on the portal. Okay, so if you go to this portal, say dataplace.com, this is the portal which I used. Okay, so you need to sign in, and you can see here okay, how why Dataplicity and say docs for connecting uh, this Raspberry Pi. There is a command for you to register the Raspberry Pi to internet at this portal. Okay, you can control. Okay, so if you go here, there's a curl. There's a command. You see here curl HTTPS.
Let me take a screenshot. Okay, sir.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, curl this. Once you run this command in the Raspberry Pi terminal, okay. So I was showing the Raspberry Pi terminal, right? Okay, the command prompt. Okay, so if you run this, your device gets registered to their portal. This is an example for Dataplicity portal. Okay, it might vary from different service provider, cloud service provider. You need to
Yes.
understand okay, how you can connect the device to the respective portals.
What the idea, sir? Thank you.
Yeah. Is that answer?
Yes, definitely,
Listen.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So there is one more question posted by Ullas P. Are you able to view the chat box, sir?
Let me say. Which question, ma'am? Okay, so this. Whose question is that? I'm working on WSN. Is that Mr. Ullas?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, I'm working on WSN. I'm actually working
Actually
on
working
simulation
on,
of
yes, sir.
S3. Do you suggest me to bring the idea on a hardware? If I yes, how to proceed? So it depends on your need. Okay, so I may not be able to answer to this question now. Bring hardware means okay, which hardware? What is your requirement?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Sir, right now I'm actually working on only simulations, but what we thought was like to develop a wireless sensor network and to test the idea, whatever that I have, on a real-time network kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely you can connect multiple Raspberry Pi. You can connect as a node. That you can try it. It's okay. In that way, you can do it, sir, Mr. Solas. Yeah.
Sir, is there any connectivity that I can bring in between NS3 and Raspberry Pi programming, or should I have to do it completely two different things?
No, see, NS3 is a simulator, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. You can have a real-time environment by connecting multiple nodes of multiple Raspberry Pi. You can see like how explore the various documents available.
Uh-huh.
I have not tried on this part. Okay,
Okay.
you can just put me an email. If I
Okay.
come across, I can share that link.
Sure,
What my
sure.
suggestion, just you see like how you can
Mm-hmm.
definitely you have applications or projects where you have a network of Raspberry Pi. Okay, even for
Okay.
parallel computation, it can be for to simple a small supercomputer you can build. So the application of Raspberry Pi is n number. Okay,
Okay, sir.
you can definitely do that. Okay,
Okay, sir.
I
Okay,
wish
sir.
all the
Okay.
best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Actually, I'm not from this field IoT, very new, but actually I work in the field of machine learning and all. So my question is that suppose I want to embed these two things, IoT and machine learning part. Like suppose I want to make a device, portable device, which will take the snap or images of any disease or suppose like skin disease and all, and
Yes,
that thing will be analyzed in the machine using deep learning, machine learning, all these things, and it will be getting means output will be means we can get. Okay, so that
Yes.
that's the thing. Suppose in that device, whatever I got understood today, that in that device, if we put a Raspberry Pi and another camera, and camera will be connected with the Raspberry Pi, it will work, and that Raspberry Pi will be connected with the cloud. In that way, can we think?
Yes, ma'am. You have only given the answer. Okay.
Yeah, that is the answer.
Yes, yeah, definitely you can do that, ma'am. It has a camera. You can connect this infrared HD camera support is there, and the
Yeah.
Python libraries you can install it. Okay, whichever the libraries is suitable for you. Definitely you can run Python programs on your Raspberry Pi. Okay.
Okay.
So for your application, so even for machine learning, people use Raspberry Pi. They do use. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, that means I have to purchase any cloud domain, or how to connect to the cloud.
That depends on the yes the service provider. Yeah, you need
That's
to figure out which service provider is suitable for you. There are service providers which provides a small some amount of resources at free of cost. You can try that. Okay, depending on the application, you can look into that.
okay. Okay. Then another one camera and Raspberry Pi will do the work, no?
Yeah, definitely that's enough. Like, but you need all those peripherals like HDMI
Yeah.
cable, the
Those things
display device.
actually separately we have to purchase with the Raspberry Pi, or those things are embedded in the Raspberry Pi?
No, some of the vendors they ship all the set. Okay,
Okay.
so if you want to get this one, so I'll show. If you want to get started, this is the website I was telling you, right? raspberrypi.org. So you can go here. Somewhere you can see this buy Raspberry Pi 4. This is the latest version of Raspberry Pi. Okay. Uh, you can see there's a click on this button. So these are the vendors.
Okay.
Here this comes with only that board. 2700 is the variant Raspberry Pi with 2 GB variant. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see some of the variants. Okay, this perform or some complete bundle you can get it, or you can explore. So this is the kit you can see here, ma'am.
Okay.
Probably you can get out of this book. Okay, if you go to the documents, you can have a you can just download the document where you can get started with using this Raspberry Pi beginner's guide. Okay,
Okay. Which
it will
document?
show you like a step-by-step instruction how you can install all these things, whatever that I was talking, right? So all this are documented in this manual, and this comes a complete kit, the necessary connecting cable, everything for this.
Okay.
You need to figure out, okay, so which is suitable to you.
Okay. Sir, means instead of taking the camera, if we use the mobile, that will also okay. Means no, in that case, that will be not a device. Okay. Means okay. Camera.
Or mobile, okay, so you can use, okay, so you need to have a better go for the camera itself, okay. Just you
Yeah.
can see the output, you will be able to use it as a device.
Yeah.
You need to have your own camera.
In that case, the output will be in the machine or in the
Yeah. Which one? A Raspberry Pi
means
only you can see that. You can see that output in the Raspberry Pi. Like, if that
we
was
can see,
required, I could demonstrate it here, okay, because
means
just
that this
this is
there should be some display in it, no? In the Raspberry Pi that will be
yeah,
connected with the
Raspberry Pi. See, yeah, if you are connected the monitor, that itself acts as a display device. You can connect your regular monitor or a TV,
okay.
or
Okay.
even you can connect a small touchscreen display. So it's a 3-inch or 7-inch display.
Okay.
Like okay, so Raspberry, you can say Raspberry Pi display. You can see here, man.
Yeah.
You can see this the small. Okay, so my network is not allowing to go to this portal. At least you can see here, like a tab. Okay, so the touchscreen display 3.5 inch, 5 inch, 10 inch. Or directly you can connect some monitor, okay, 14 inch or even the 56 inch TV. For a larger display, you can go there.
Okay, so in that case, sir, that machine learning part or deep learning part, that we can do in that Raspberry Pi itself or
Yes,
another machine.
yes. You can run the complete Python library, set of libraries.
How much RAM will be there in the Raspberry Pi?
A Raspberry Pi now it comes to the higher side. It comes with 8 GB RAM.
Okay,
The
then
Raspberry
fine.
Pi 4, with the Raspberry Pi 4, it has different variants: one 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB. Even the older one, Raspberry Pi 3, 1 GB. Raspberry Pi 0 is having 512 MB RAM.
Okay, means one display unit and Raspberry Pi and camera will work
Yeah,
together. Then
definitely it works. It's a low cost investment for you.
yeah, good. Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Participants, you have any other queries? Okay. So thank you, sir. I think we can wind up the session. So thank you very much, sir. On behalf of the organizing team and all the participants, I would like to place my sincere thanks to Dr. Vishwakaran, sir, for accepting our invitation and being part of this STTP. So I'm very sure your hands-on session was well received by our participants, and we can see many good feedback about the session, and we would like to have your continuous support with us in future sessions too. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
And so
Over
it's good to know that okay, people have responded in the online session. Usually I avoid online sessions because there won't be much interaction. I do appreciate the participants for asking me questions.
Yes,
So
sir.
I even had a good interaction with the participants. And thanks for the organizer, the Jose madam and you for hosting this. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, sir. Deepa ma'am, over to Deepa ma'am.
Yes, sir. So thank you once again for making the session very interactive. To be frank, this was the first hands-on session, and initially the participants were not responding, and then through the 1 hour you have made them very interactive. Specifically, this is a afternoon session. Thanks to you, sir, and hats off to you.
And the participants, ma'am.
Hats off to you, sir. And as I mentioned, from the management, we do expect future collaborations with the Department of AI and ML from the MIST, sir.
Pleasure, ma'am. It's my pleasure.
Specifically with regards to research and for training, we can have further collaborations.
Sure.
Thanks once
I
again.
look forward to work with you people.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Over to the participants, you will be having the attendance consolidation will be sent to all of you by Saturday morning, and those who have enough attendance will be allowed to attend the exam, and it is mandatory that you need to score 60% marks in the exam to be eligible for the certificate. Okay, I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks to all the participants.
I would like to thank all the participants for all the questions and for being interactive. And once again, thank to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Shall I disconnect, ma'am?
Yes, sir. We are winding up the session.